300 seconds. That's how long Stanislav Petrov had to decide if 3 billion people would live or die. September 26, 1983. The Soviet computer said America just launched 5 nuclear missiles. Protocol said, retaliate immediately. His gut said, wait. If he was wrong, the Soviet Union burns. If he was right, his government would make sure no one ever knew his name. 12:15 a.m. Moscow time. Serpukhov 15, a secret facility buried south of Moscow. The alarms began screaming. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov watched the computer screen flash red in the fluorescent glare. The bunker's stale air hummed with cooling fans. Somewhere, a phone was ringing. 5 American nuclear missiles were heading toward the Soviet Union. The protocol was clear. If America launched a first strike, retaliate immediately. Mutually assured destruction, the foundation of the entire Cold War. And now, according to the computer system, that moment had arrived. Petrov stared at the screen, his subordinates waiting for his order. The minutes were ticking away, and something felt wrong. 5 missiles. 5. If America was actually launching a first strike, why would they send only 5 missiles? It didn't make tactical sense. You'd send hundreds, thousands, enough to obliterate the enemy's ability to respond. 5 missiles wouldn't accomplish that. 5 missiles would just guarantee your own destruction. The satellite system was new, barely tested, and Petrov knew satellites. He'd helped design parts of the Soviet early warning network. He knew how they worked, and he knew how they could fail. The alarm was still screaming. His hand hovered over the red phone. One call to Soviet high command would launch 3,000 warheads. Soviet doctrine required an immediate counter-launch. He made his decision. His voice steady, he reported to his commanders. False alarm. Computer error. Not an attack. He was right. The satellites had mistaken sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds for missile launches. A glitch. A trick of light at the exact moment the sun and the satellites and the clouds aligned in just the wrong way. If one person's judgment can prevent World War III, imagine what happens when millions of people know these hidden stories. Subscribe or follow to Cataflux, where we investigate the mysteries that demand proof. Stanislav Petrov had prevented World War III. His reward, reprimand, interrogation, disgrace. His superiors were embarrassed that their billion-ruble satellite system had failed so catastrophically, so they buried the incident, classified it. He had a wife, a son. He was covering for a colleague that night. He was given no commendation, no recognition. He was quietly retired, forced into a nervous breakdown, and lived the rest of his life in a small town outside Moscow on a pension of $200 a month. While the generals who built the faulty system kept their dakas, their medals, and their silence. The world didn't learn his name until 1998, 15 years later, when the story was finally declassified. Stanislav Petrov died in 2017, largely unknown, in a small apartment alone. He saved more lives than anyone in human history, and for that, his government punished him, because admitting he was a hero would mean admitting their system had failed. It would mean admitting that one man's judgment was worth more than all their protocols, all their computers, all their certainty. Sometimes the person who saves the world doesn't get a statue. Sometimes they get silence. And sometimes that silence buries 3 billion lives that never knew they were saved.